here with at CPAC Mexico with the president of Mis amigos migrantes, pues aquí estoy.
Total catastrophe, and it is a crisis.
Of a child, right there. All these NGOs, you're fake. It is this, the crisis of children. Good evening to all. Good morning in the West Coast. It is 11:36 in the morning. It is, good evening in the West Coast and also in Central Time. It's nice to say hello to you guys. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News, broadcasting live from Tijuana, Mexico. I wanted to just jump in and to talk about what the president of Panama has said in the United Nations Assembly a couple of days, yesterday, I believe so it was, and also Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador, that what they have said and how countries can fix this, how the government can fix this, and how they are approaching this humanitarian crisis, this national security issue. It is a subject of national security. The government of Panama has declared that, and also, several other countries have declared that it is a mass uncontrollable migration, let us call it like that, of people, on an exodus running away from Venezuela to get to a better life. This is, in my own perspective, I believe that there is a way to fix this. And the thing that we have been doing, exposing the reality and the truth of what is going on, is helping to a purpose to say, this is the humanitarian crisis which is occurring in their countries. And it is going to be, this is evidence to push other countries to unite and to also help, fix this problem in the particular situation, talking about, let's just talk about a specific country, Venezuela, to specifically remove that dictator and to bring those people back home. Really, a lot. And I will tell you, 85 to 90% of the people of Venezuela will love to go back to their country and to their land. They will love to go back to their country and to their land and work, their economy, work on the reality that is going on. Us showing you what no other network has done, going into the Darien Gap for 3 times and risking our lives. This time it was really difficult because we had to take away the cape of being a journalist and show you how children are risking their lives, parents are risking their children's lives to in addition to get to a better life. That I don't believe that is the way, and everybody knows that Darien is not a route and that is not the way. And the only ones that they are profiting and making a profit out of this, it is the organized crime and the cartel, and ultimately the international organizations. Now, governments, what they have, take away the hat of being a journalist. I'm sorry, the term is that, take away the hat of being a journalist. But governments, what they have done, the example is one of them. I will tell you one that it has fixed their problem with migration. And it is the first one that I would like to say. It is El Salvador. The president of El Salvador has fixed the migration into their countries. And ultimately, not only that, people stop migrating from El Salvador. You can migrate to whatever place. Nobody's taking away the right for you to migrate. For me, for a lot of people, they say it's not a human right. For me, it's a human right. But for a lot of people, that's the beautiful thing about freedom. That God gave us that freedom when we were born, and God takes it away when we die. Is the only one. But this is the problem that got fixed. Nayib Bukele, he fixed the problem with the gangs inside of his country. and he brought law and order, and he brought peace to their citizens, and their citizens are living are actually a great percentage of their citizens are coming back to El Salvador to invest on their land and to also uh it's exactly it's the most important thing. I believe so that El Salvador has put an example on the whole continent of how to fix a problem that is extremely aggravated, that people are getting out of their own land and leaving their land, and these people do not want to leave their land. They want to stay in their land, but they're looking for an opportunity. And the actual Biden administration, it is the one that is incentivizing for people to come on these difficult risk, on these torturous journeys. That shouldn't be the way. And the only way to combat the Biden administration, it is to show the reality of what these people are going through. To combat the Biden administration, now the Panamanian president has openly it spoke on the United Nations to say we need to worry about humanity, and it is affecting the economy of Panama. Ultimately, it is affecting the economy of every Central and South America. And now you see the problem that is affecting the railroads of Mexico. More than 60 trains have stopped from working because migrants, on their desperation, they want to jump on the back of the train and get to the northern borders as fast as possible and cross as fast as possible to deliver themselves to Border Patrol. The open border policies have caused a lot of damage into human life. And the Panamanian government has stand up into the Biden administration to say, we are not going to be bullied from you. You need to do things right. You need to do things right. We are a sovereign country. We are a country that is not going to be overrun by your open border ideologies and policies. A lot of the people have said, what is Mexico doing to stop this? We have Article 11 of our Constitution that says people are free to transit in our country. Our president has allowed people to come in, but the migrants do not want to stay in Mexico. They want to move into the United States of America, and they're being admitted embedded because the Biden administration is saying, you have this ability to have the CBP-1, you have the humanitarian parole, you have all of this. So the reason why you're asking me this question, you should ask it to your own government. It's not a question of why Mexico, why Guatemala, why Honduras, why Nicaragua, why Costa Rica, why Panama, why Colombia, why Venezuela. It is a question of your own government. And I believe that, the actual governments, they have an ability to stand up into the Biden administration and say, we are not going to be bullied of your globalist ideas. We are not going to be bullied by the United Nations and their global compact on migration. That it is actually destroying borders, and the most sad thing about it is that risking children's lives, is risking people's lives. And it is not just Mexico that is, this is a chain. It comes from all South America. People are coming from Africa. People are coming from, we just recorded this when we just documented this inside of the Darien. People from Vietnam, now they're coming. It's just unbelievable. And it is because of the Biden administration. It is not because of Mexico. It's not because of Nicaragua. It's not about Guatemala. It's because of the Biden administration. And the way that these South American countries that can stand up and say, we are not going to be bullied from you. All the resource of Panama, a lot of it is being spent on the humanitarian crisis that is occurring right now, that in Panama. Outside, we show you Bajo Chiquito. It is a little village that is holding up to 3,000 to 5,000 a day. Lajas Blancas is another village that is holding up to 3,000 to 5,000 a day. Plan de Hualaca, it is a It is a place that is kilometers away from just kilometers away from the Costa Rica border. It is holding up to 3,000 per day. Coming down the Darien, it is between 1,500 and 2,000 a day. It is unsustainable. It is not xenophobic. It is not transphobic. It is not human right of migrating. I'm all for, everybody has a human right to migrate. I was watching Tim Pool yesterday, and he says in Tim Pool, he was saying we are all for migration. We are all for migration. It's a matter of fact, migrants should come, but there is a process and there's a legal way to do it. And the way that the Biden administration is doing it is incentivizing the cartel, causing a crisis in Mexico, in the borders, and causing wars in Mexico with the cartel. That they're the ones that they're taking advantage of human life and human misery, and the migrants themselves, because the migrants are the currency through these organized crimes, and the children, and also in Central America and South America, the ones that they're making a profit out of it is the migrants. The cartel is making a profit out of them. So the Biden administration is bullying every country with their open border policies. They're bullying them. The Biden administration is saying, well, we don't care for your problems. Fix your cartel problems. We just want this to continue. Instead of, I don't know, fixing the problem, countries are being bullied, and economically they're being, destabilized. And it is a reality. I am a migrant myself. I'm telling you, what I just saw inside of the Darien, it is not nice at all. It is horrible. We saw people dying. We saw people that they were dead. We saw children consistently crying and telling their moms, get me out of here. Get me out of here. Where am I? Why am I doing here? Why? And it is sad that we had to record that and ultimately go through that and take away the hat of a journalist and put the hat of just nobody else's hat, just a human being, to rescue a child from not drowning. It's difficult. It's difficult. It's really difficult. It's really difficult. But I think strongly that there's a solution for this. And the solution is, this is why we go over there to document, to show how irresponsible, inhumane, how this treacherous journey, the cartel and the organized crime are the ones that are taking advantage of it. And that is our obligation, to show the truth, so these governments will understand that this is inhumane, and that they can show it as evidence, so they will stand up until the Biden administration and say, this is what is happening in my country. We're not going to let you bully us with your open border policies. We're not going to allow that. And imagine if the United States is having a hard time. If the United States has a hard time with resources right now, if the United States of America, before I go, give it a like to this video, share this video on Facebook and YouTube. Give it a like and share it. And subscribe to my channel on YouTube, and you're just brand new and coming in. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and give it a like and share it. But imagine if the United States is having a hard time. The United States is a first-class world country. A lot of people are going to say, oh, no, we're not. We're this. Doesn't even matter. Facts are facts. The United States is still a first-class world country. But let me tell you something. If the United States is having a hard time with resources, imagine Colombia. Imagine Panama. Imagine Costa Rica. Imagine Honduras. Imagine Nicaragua. Imagine Guatemala. Imagine Mexico. Imagine how hard of how they're sustaining this. Of course, there's a lot of corruption in our countries, in Central and South America. But you are not going to deny me that there is no corruption right now inside of the United States with these leftists, that they are governing in these border towns, sanctuary cities. So the only way the Panamanian president stood in front of the United Nations and basically said, we are not going to be bullied. This is too much. We need to do something about this humanitarian crisis. There's a humanitarian crisis in Venezuela, and we know who is the problem. And everybody knows who is the problem. So bringing the evidence and documenting the evidence as our responsibility as journalists, our responsibility is not an authority. I hear comments sometimes, stop then, Oscar. Why are you carrying a child? Why are you doing this? I'm not an authority. I'm a journalist. And if I did that when I was in the Darien Gap, it was because I saw that children would have died. And I'm not going to stop to record. Meanwhile, as children is being dragged away by the river. It's a crime against humanity, what they're doing. Our job is to document and to show so people will understand. First of all, that Darien is not a route. Second of all, that the organized crime is the only one that is profiting out of this. Third of all, that governments need to do more to defend human life, and that this is an absolute abuse and crimes against humanity, and that everybody's taking advantage of this humanitarian crisis, and that open border policies, it is not the solution. It is not the solution. So what we're doing is showing you the reality of what is happening. And then the organized crime is not only in Mexico. You're seeing that in Colombia, they're profiting the hell out of this. And these little villages where they are going in and through the Darien Gap. It's unbelievable. Somebody saying Mexico is the most corrupt country beside Ukraine. We aren't you talking about how your president had all the communist country and their independence parade. Warn your people, Oscar. What's going on with your country? I believe that the Biden administration is extremely the most corrupt right now in the world. What is going on with your country? What you're made out of flowers? What's going on with your country? You want to really talk evidence? Ukraine, Afghanistan, the border. It's always point the finger. No, we're not. No, it's Biden. It's not us. No. Déjense de fregaderas. What's going on with your country? Who's tyrannical right now in implementing these inhuman policies? We need to understand that countries are standing against these bullies, against these oligarchs, against these elitists. Small countries are standing up. And there's a way to fix this. Because you have an imperialistic left that is completely demolishing the United States right now. Alejandro Mayorkas and the Biden administration. They have an inflation. They have this problem with identity gender. They have a problem with economical infrastructures. They have a problem with international relations. They have a problem at the border. Yes, people are coming in for a better life. I understand that. But this is not the way. People are risking their lives. A lot of people are dying. You just showed a small percentage, Oscar. It was only 2 people that you showed in the Darien that they died. It shouldn't exist. One. You incompetent idiot. It shouldn't be just one. Not even one. Children should not go across a current at a river that it can drag them away and lose their lives. It's a profit. It's a humanitarian business. And people are standing against this Biden administration that is demolishing sovereign borders with their policies. That is what they're doing. That is what they're doing. And these small countries, we need to support them. They're standing and they're aiding to say, you know what? Yes, you're right. Migration, we need it. But there's a way to do it. There's a legal pathway to do it. There's a more humanitarian pathway to do it. There's a responsible way to do it. Not give the power to the organized crime, not give the power to these international organizations. They're not doing squat. They're not doing anything. I've been there in the epicenter. Why all these countries are being bullied by these open border policies of the Biden administration? So by showing us evidence, documenting evidence, you don't even know where we're reaching. And it's expanding. It's expanding. Somebody's saying, why do we need migration? Your country was built out of migrants. Sorry, that was a bag that it dropped. I'm sorry. You're going to say legal migrants? Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. A lot of people don't agree with me that I'm saying migration is a human right. For me, it's a human right. A lot of people don't agree with. My brother Ben Berquam doesn't agree with me, but we have a long conversation about it. He agree to disagree. Everybody has their own point. And you know what? It's the beautiful thing about freedom. When you're telling me what I need to think, you're interrupting my freedom of speech. If you're telling me something that I do not agree with, it doesn't even matter that it has to be that way. It's my mind, it's my way of thinking. You don't have to agree with me. We can shake hands and be gentlemen and say, I do not agree with you, Oscar, but you have a point, but I do not agree with you with that. And I will respect you because we're men. We're supposed to respect each other. Other than having points across that we do not agree, we're supposed to respect each other and come to a solution. And come to a solution. And the solution is that right now, these small countries, they're standing up. They're standing up and standing against these bullies of the Biden administration. These bullies that they're sitting down on their throne in Congress and in their nice penthouses, like Alexander Ocasio, like Rashida Tlaib, like Ilhan Omar, like Veronica Escobar, like Gavin Newsom, like all the Republican rhinos, these bullies that they're taking decisions on other countries. And they do not care what other countries are going through. And they do not care what migrants are going through. And they do not care what children are going through. Of course, the United States is not the fixer of the world. It is not supposed to be the one that fixes the world. But I have said it multiple times, and I said it in Bannon with Steve Bannon. I said the number one problem with this is the global compact on migration. You give the power to the United Nations to do whatever they want with your border, this will happen. It will be a disorder. Look what's happened in Italy. Right now in the Lampedusa Island. It is a reality. You give the power to the United Nations, and if you stay out of the United Nations, it doesn't even matter that it does not say that you're inhumane, that you are not for people, that you're not. This is what the left wants to portray you. You're xenophobic, transphobic, homophobic, pronoun phobic, fat phobic, you're racist, you're a bigot, you're a white supremacist, you're conspiracy theorist, you're creating hysteria, you're fear mongering. They are labeling you like that. There's the language barrier of defense. They use that. But if you're not for the United Nations, it means that you're standing and that you're going to obey your law and immigration law. It doesn't say that you don't have an immigration law. It doesn't say that. It says that you have a process. But these global compacts are so inhuman. They're not human. People are being kidnapped, abused, trafficked. People are dying. People are dying. And I think that it's time. And these small countries, El Salvador and Panama, are standing up. Panama's going through a really tough time right now. Really tough time. They're receiving more than almost 20,000 a week. It is an out of control. When I was there, I was saying es una cosa de locos. Esto está de locos. It's a crazy thing what we were watching. It was crazy. And I understand the migrants that need to go to a better place, but I believe strongly that this is the time that because we are showing how the Venezuelan people, what they're going through, it is the time that governments push for that dictator to be removed from their country and let people go back happily to their country. Venezuela, before 1996, was one of the most richest countries in the world. Do you know how it feels when you're walking in the Darien and you're asking people where you're from, and they tell you Venezuela, 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 and you're like, what happened to that country? What happened? Communist, a dictator happened. And I was asking my brother Ben right here, imagine the way the United States is going through right now, the way that these tyrannical leftist oligarchs, the way that these tyrannical leftist Congress people that they are, and these rhinos in Congress and the Senate, they're pushing for these policies. Imagine if one day, God forbid, you will hear a migration of United States citizens say, where are you coming from? The U.S., the U.S., the U.S., the U.S., the U.S. And you're going to be looking like, what happened to that country? Bad people, bad governments make chaos. That's what happened. The problem is to remove that dictator from Venezuela and bring the economy of that country to where it was. Problems in Haiti. Law and order is needed in Haiti. They need help. Where are all the other first-class world countries? Where's Canada? Where's Germany? Where's France? Where's Spain? Where's Sweden? The only one that is absorbing this is the United States of America. You're not humane. Also, you're not for human life. You're not for people getting a better life. Nobody's fixing this. Only one government. Why we're giving them the power to say and do so over human life? Venezuelan people are beautiful people that they just looking for a better life. Why they are looking, you have to understand this question. Why you're looking for a better life. Ask why. And when they tell you why, you will understand like, oh, I live in a communist country. So the problem is a communist government. Remove the communist government. Return to your country beautifully and live in your country beautifully. Do you think Venezuelan people would like to leave their country? No. Have you seen their beaches? Have you seen their cities? It's one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. These people are being pushed out of a communist country, and the ones that they're taking advantage of this are communist people, dictators, oligarchs, elitists, that they're in their own magical world. They believe that open border policies, it is the way to fix this problem. And people are dying, people are being trafficked, people are being abused, borders are being completely demolished, sovereign nations are being completely slowly decreased. This is an incorrect comment, and I will read it. They are so entitled, and why aren't they fighting in their country? With what? Do you saw the protests around 3 years ago? With what? It's a communist country. Do you saw the protests in Cuba? Do you heard the interview? You haven't heard the interview because I did it in Spanish. I interviewed 3 Cubans inside of the jungle. And I said, not too long ago, there was a massive protest in Cuba. Nobody's talking about how many people died in those protests. And they said, the Cubans say, and they're not going to say anything because we don't have anything to defend ourselves with. If we go out and protest, they will KILL us because they don't have guns to defend themselves. They don't have nothing but a stick and a book. 3 years ago, the Venezuelan people they stood up against the tyrannical government of Nicolas Maduro. Millions of people marched in their city, in their countries. Nobody helped them. There no United Nations helped them. No other government helped them. With what? They've been protesting. Millions of people have been protesting in their country. Millions. Nobody's putting attention to this. Again, the number one problem is to remove this man. That is it. And actually, small governments and small countries are standing in front of this tyrannical leftist policies, that they're only being more critical to life. And the ones that are taking advantage of this are NGOs, making a profit, are these international organizations, the cartel, the organized crime, the ones that are taking advantage of it. Because the governments are spending. But ultimately, the ones that they're making money are these organizations. The good thing about it that I can tell you is that we're documenting things that we really are sad. They're really sad. These things are really sad when you're walking and it's sad to see people, children, dead bodies on the way. It's so sad to see it. It's so sad. But we're documenting this with a purpose to say this is not the correct humane for migration. This is not the way. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Boys News. Good evening to everybody. It's 12:08. I will take a couple of questions before I go. I didn't want to make this a long video, so it's 32 minutes in. I will make it a small video, 40, 45 minutes, for people to just understand. Make Venezuela great again. Yes, that is actually a statement. Make it great. Make it beautiful. Make it the best. Venezuelan people deserve to go back to their country. They deserve to be in their country, live beautifully their lives. Before I go, I wanted to say something to my audience. Before I go, there has been a lot. I've been receiving some messages, a lot of messages. It sounds funny because it reminded me of something, but I've been receiving some messages of people asking me if I wanted to speak in front of Congress of the United States. And there has been more, people have been insisting on it, and now more. God's plan is our mission. God will put everything into perspective to where it is. My mission is to expose the evil on this migration, and for people to migrate correctly, and for people to migrate safely. There's a comment right here saying Haitians practice voodoo, and in the United States you have protests of people from that they love Satan, and you have these radical LGBTQ protests. What makes it a difference? Sorry, not sorry. Before you point the finger, look at yourself in the mirror. Or what is happening in your country? And I've been looking at this. I've been looking at this petition of people sending me messages to say, "Hey, Oscar, you should speak in Congress. You should speak in Congress." I'm a foreigner to the United States of America, but whatever I can do, in addition to support, to stop this abuse because of these open border policies, I'm willing to do so. So if people want me to do so, do what you got to do. I whatever it's needed. More people are like continuously sending like, "Hey, you should do this. You should do it." We have the best experience and really a lot of information that we can provide for these people in Congress to understand that this is inhuman. You know how leftist congressional people are going to talk about people's past and all that. We're really well prepared. I am so prepared for that. Bring it. The issue here is that people are dying. This is inhumane. And the ones that are taking advantage of it, it is the organized crime. They're profiting out of human misery and human necessity. Say hello to Israel Rodriguez. Nice to talk to you, troll. Liberal Democrat. God bless you. God bless your dear heart, brother. And it's so sad that it's a Latino that is telling me that. It's so sad that a Latino is telling me that. It's so, so sad. This is when you understand how sad it is. So sad that a Latino is doing that. This is what Democrat leftists, progressive liberals, they do. They're mercenary, man. It's so sad. I'm from Mexico. And I'm proud of being Mexican. I'm proud to live over here. I love my city. I love my country. But it's so sad. It's so embarrassing. So embarrassing to see this kind of it's so sad. It's so sad, really. So God bless you all. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for joining in on this broadcast. Let me just do something real quick. There you go. Thank you so much for joining in this broadcast. We have a responsibility, and it's to inform everybody, what is the reality and truth of what is going on in our world. And I believe strongly that we have a big responsibility now, and we need to continue with it. We need to continue with it, to be responsible with what is the actual situation of these people, what they're going through. We need to continue and continue and continue with it. And it is so important that whatever place that we are located, whatever place that we are standing, we continue doing it. Do not let nobody stop you, not even these comments. One of these trolls right here. Not even that. That is peanut butter and jelly for me. Come on, get a life. That's not going to do it. We have to continue with it. And also support these small governments that are actually trying to do something about it. Fighting over this. Fighting, continuously fighting over human rights, over human life. We need to understand that. This is actually affecting instead of helping. because the ones that they're profiting out of this, it is the cartel, the organized crime, these international organizations, that they're ones that they are profiting out of this. Are the number ones that they're profiting out of this. Nobody else. That is our number one evidence. It is nowhere that we cannot deny that is not a reality. Migrants are being abused. Human life is being abused. And these people are actually dying on their way and on their journeys. When did that become normal? When did it become normal for a migrant to put their lives in the hands of a trafficker, in the hands of a coyote? When did it become normal? When did it made then when did it become normal for that to happen? It became normal. And also, why an international government is okay with this? Why governments are okay with seeing that children are dying? People are dying. People are getting abused. Children are being trafficked. When did it become okay? Why are we being bullied to be okay with these policies? That because the United States thinks so, these policies of the Biden administration, correct myself, these policies, not of the United States, the Biden administration, why we have to obey those policies and be their backyard for those policies. Why they were against Bukele fixing their country. And now the Panamanian government, the Panamanian president looks exactly like that. Helping these people in their country is the solution. You're not stopping them from achieving their American dream, whatever they want to achieve. You're actually helping them by fixing the economy of their country. And they will say, like, I prefer to stay with my people, I prefer to stay in the country instead of risking my life. I love my life. I love my children. I think that, I prefer to stay here, bring in security, bring in jobs, bring in a better economy, bring in safety. That should be better. Instead of, oh, you know what? Tomorrow I'm leaving. Where? To the jungle? I'm just going to cross it and see how it goes. Risk my life and see how it goes. If I cross it, oh, I got just a few steps away. I got to cross this migrant camps, go on up Piragua, and then get out of here. Pay more money. Then after that, let me pay more money to Costa Rica, pay more money to Nicaragua, pay more money in Honduras, pay more money in Guatemala, pay more money in Mexico, and then possibly I will get to Mexico's borders with the United States. Then after that, let me see how it goes. If I get admitted, embedded. Is that the way? If that is the way, wow. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Boys News. Thank you, and thank you. Guys are being really nice, and we will be off and on coming in over here, and bringing you guys our thoughts, talking points also, and ultimately not only that, but talking about this disorder, this completely regular systematic migration that they're weaponizing. The migrants are using them for a political purpose, but for them it looks like I'm getting a better life. For the Democrats and some rhinos, it's for political purpose. So sad that they're using the vulnerabilities of people for their own political purpose. Thank you so much for everybody for their entirely support. In a few days, I'm bringing you guys a big surprise. I believe that is I just wanted to bring it up again. we are going to receive a an honor, and we are going to receive a award in one country in South America for our documentation of the Darien Gap, and also our documentary of the Darien Gap. And I want to say thank you for all your support, everybody that has been supporting. We achieved it, and it's just it's something that is really amazing. And thank you for all your entire support that is going to be happening in incoming months. But at the next incoming days, I will be receiving, I think that is the most important thing that I have ever received, and it is so important. So I will be posting it later on when it happens for you guys to see. Uh, it is such an honor, and I'm extremely happy. That is worth a million and a million words. So I'm extremely happy for that. That we are being acknowledged in our own city, and I am really honored for that, and it's going to be an honor, and I'm going to be really happy for it. But thank you everybody for your undeniable support. I remember when I started. Again, I started. I worked at a radio station. I never worked outside of a radio station. I worked in radio station before this for quite some time, and I was calling fights, doing sports in a radio station. And one day they told me, "Hey, Oscar, the guy that covers migration didn't came. Can you go and cover it?" And I was like, "No, I don't want to. That's not my thing." And look where I'm at right now. Crossed 3 times the Darien Gap. Uh, went through Central America, South America, borders with Mexico and the United States. Went to Ukraine, Poland, France, uh, Amsterdam, Netherlands. It's just uh, you never know where God takes you. That's why I say God's plan is our mission. Wherever God, you're using me for some purpose. So I'm just being guided by your hands, and being guided by whatever you tell me to do in my heart. So, you know, like to say thank you to everybody that started supporting me from the start. It's a really an amazing journey, has been an amazing journey, and we're going to continue. Uh, Somebody saying, can I go through the dairy and get with you next time? I don't think so. I will not put you through that torture. I don't think that you deserve that. I don't think that, it's God bless you from Arizona. Yes. Thank you so much from Arizona. Thank you. You guys have incredible people exposing what is going on in Arizona. I think my brother Anthony is over there. So quick shout out to all the people. Follow him as he is broadcasting continuously over there, and going live, and showing you what is going on. I believe that is always like working tirelessly in the afternoon and night. So support him as he is doing the best that he can to expose what is going on over there. So uh, quick shout out to Arizona, Yuma and all those places that they're being. It's really hard what the borders are going through right now. It's difficult to see, and to not understand the reality. So God bless you all. Thank you for all your undeniable support. You know, uh, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys this evening. We will be going. We have a couple of things to do, and I think I have an interview in Spanish today. A lot of people were, I want to say something before I go. Before I go, uh, as of right now, uh, a lot of people have been asking why TikTok is only in Spanish. I remember when I started speaking a lot of English, people started telling me, Oscar, you should do this in Spanish for people to understand what's going on, the risk that they're taking their lives, and and all this kind of stuff. Ramon Vasquez. Salud, Ramon. Ramon, Ramon Congresista. O Ramón Vázquez. Ramón Congresista o Ramón Vázquez otro. Ramón. ¿Cuál Ramón? ¿Es Ramón Vázquez, mi amigo congresista? Saludos de Sabinas Hidalgo, Nuevo León. Saludos para Ramón, pero no creo que ese es el congresista. Creo que eras el congresista. So a lot of people were asking me, "Hey, why don't you do Spanish? Why don't you do Spanish?" And you should do this in Spanish. You should, expose it in Spanish. So people, I started doing it in Spanish, and that is what I have been doing. And I think that it's important that we start speaking to our Spanish speaking audience of what the reality it is, and governments will see in Spanish what this it is causing. People are losing their lives, people are being abused, and people are taken advantage of. And it is not okay to see a child suffer through a river, to see people suffer through a jungle. It is not fun to see that. It is not fun to see that. Somebody saying, TikTok, it is owned by China. What makes you understand that Facebook is not? Thank you so much for joining in. God bless you all. And, thank you so much. And also, I want to say to all my Spanish speaking audience in TikTok, it's amazing. Our audience in TikTok, we have as it right now, hold on, as it right now, we have 253,000 followers in TikTok. Saludos a toda la raza. Tenemos ya muchos seguidores. Wow, man, that's a lot of audience. So God bless you all. Thank you so much. Uh, you know, thank you so much for all your undeniable support. And thank you, and thank you. I before I go, I'm a lot of people do not agree with this, but I agree with it. Uh, migration for me is a human right. It is a human right to migrate, but there's a legal pathway to do it. And I believe that strongly. A lot of people do not believe it. That's okay. Agree to disagree. You might be right. I might be wrong. You might be right. You might be wrong. I might be right. But for me, it is. And other than that, my heart is never going to betray what comes out of my mouth. So, that's what my heart says. And I try to have my heart where it's always put my heart where where it's supposed to be. So uh thank you so much. God bless you. I will be leaving you guys. Have a couple of interviews today. I believe that I have an interview with a Venezuelan lawyer, and also I have another interview later on today by radio with a Venezuelan radio station in Miami. So God bless you all. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. And like we say, God's plan is our mission.